Meteorologist Nicholas Herboso here in the Fox 10 Storm Tracker Center. We are still dealing with some active weather across our area with very heavy rain falling, and we have had a couple of tornado warnings that have been issued earlier. Right now, the only one that is in effect is in Jackson County with a weak area of rotation. We'll go over all of this here in a moment. Here's the big picture. We have a band of thunderstorms essentially north of Interstate 10 from our Florida counties. Biggest thunderstorm happening right now in between Stockton, Bay Minette, Gateswood. We have heavy rain that's falling here. And then we have a couple other thunderstorms, one in Mobile County. Let's go ahead and zoom in. And we're going to start with the first one that has a tornado warning with it right now. We dropped off of the air for this tornado warning because the rotation is simply just not significant at this point. And the tornado threat is much lower. But here's the deal right now with this tornado warned storm. This is well north of Van Cleve, Mississippi. Wade is right here. And this is the weak area of rotation. Please understand this is extremely weak. Now, the Weather Service in New Orleans has decided to keep this tornado warning in effect. Therefore, out of respect of that decision, I have to say that, Wade, you are in a tornado warning still. You weren't for a little while. They issued a new one. Now you're back in it. But this 614 right here, 63, new scan. There's barely anything. Hopefully, at this point, they'll be allowing this to expire. I am about as close as I can possibly be to giving Jackson County an all clear at this point. So listen to the tone of my voice. This is pretty much a non-threat at this point. So you can breathe easy here in Jackson County, Mississippi for the tornado threat. However, there's something way more serious going on in Jackson County, and it is the serious flash flood threat that we have going on right now. The northern part of Jackson County, we have serious issues with more rain that is falling after we have already gotten 6, 7, possibly 8 inches now, and this is just going to add on to it here. So this is a very, very considerable threat here with the flash flood warning that has been issued. And in fact, the term flash flood emergency being thrown around here because this is just such a significant event. There it is, that considerable flash flood warning that continues for northern Jackson County. Elsewhere across the area, we have a very heavy thunderstorm with now lots of heavy rain falling in Baldwin County. This is our second biggest priority right now. This is the strongest storm. Other areas, it's been quiet, but some it's been really rowdy. Here's the immense amount of lightning. This is crazy. In between Gateswood, Bay Minette, and Stapleton, what I called out earlier. Along Alabama 112, that's Gateswood along the river there in Baldwin County. Then 31, 59. So Alabama 59 and US 31 there in between Stapleton and Bay Minette. You've got heavy rain falling at this point. You've got lots of lightning. Thankfully, right now, you do not have a tornado threat with this. This is just heavy rain that is falling, but it's significant enough that we have a flash flood warning that has been issued. This is all north of Interstate 10. If you're in Loxley, pretty much right along Interstate 10 there, you do have some heavy rain that's falling, but the main batch of rain is off to your north. And now the rain has really gotten into Escambia County as well. So zooming into northern Escambia County, Florida, where we do still have some very heavy rain that is falling. This is Bay Springs, Florida here. This is 97, very heavy rain. And we've been watching this area in particular for some weak rotation. And you see that area of bright greens there? Possibly some gusty winds happening at this point. If you're in Bay Springs, Florida at this point, in northern Escambia County, you probably have gusty winds going on at this point. There's a bit of rotation with this, not significant enough for them to issue a warning. But again, some very heavy wind, strong wind possible here in this part of this storm. That'll cross 97 very shortly here. So our concern areas for heavy rain at this point, and the areas that have the most impact from storms, are communities like Cloverleaf Landing, along 225, folks along 225, Bromley, Stapleton, Bay Minette, Gateswood, and anybody in between. And then you get to Pineville and anywhere along 97 in the northern part of Escambia County, Florida. Eventually, we'll start to talk about Santa Rosa and Okaloosa counties, but right now it is just not there. So the deal here is northern Baldwin County. Let's take a look again Over Mobile County now. I haven't talked about Mobile County because the threat is much less with this particular storm. However, along Interstate 10, there's a heavy thunderstorm that is going on at this point. Anywhere from the Theodore Dawes exit, this is Range Line Road right here. You have lightning, heavy rain that's falling. This is not severe at this point. This is just heavy rain. South of the airport, well south of the airport along Interstate 10, but places like Irvington, even all the way down to Grand Bay, you have some light rain at this point. But this is not severe. We are going to be watching, though, for any rotation that happens with this, because some of these storms have been rotating again, and also we have that lightning. So put you at ease in Mobile County at this point. Just rain that's falling, and thankfully so, because it could be worse with the heavy rain that we have seen. Big concern right now is Jackson County, northern Jackson County, where we have this storm that is rolling through at this point. And again, moving off to the north, this area, and I'll look at this in a second, we'll show you how much the estimated rainfall totals are. They are insane. But this is the area of our flash flooding threat. To officially give you the all clear for the tornado warning, no more tornado warning for Jackson County. Finally, the Weather Service in New Orleans decided to get rid of it. Probably should have gotten rid of it a long time ago, but oh well. Here's the deal right now. It is a thunderstorm that is going on, producing heavy rain on top of an area that has already gotten a ton of rain. Take a look at these rainfall totals. This is some incredible estimated rainfall from the last 12 hours. That big yellow bullseye you see, that is where we have that flash flood warning. And here is the deal, and I'm actually going to pull this up with the estimates. Let me get the actual data here. And you can see that we have 7, 8, almost 9, that's 10 inches. Near Wade and Hurley, 7 inches, 9 inches, 5.5 inches, nearly 7 inches. The whole entire area in northern Jackson County has really gotten hammered with heavy rain. You see 6 and 5 inches once you get to the far southern part of George County. So these are incredible numbers, and rain is still falling. Therefore, this is a serious flash flooding threat there. Of course, for driving in this area at this point, turn around, don't drown is the deal. We have received multiple reports of water over roads here and water piling up at this point, and that's going to be the deal with heavy rain that's falling. But this is not the only area that has had heavy rain at this point. Again, thankfully, Jackson County, no tornado threat remaining for you at this point, so you can hit the all clear there. Here's our next bullseye. The bullseye near Bay Minette, south of Stockton, Bromley, north of Bromley, north of Stapleton, near Hurricane. Also, Satsuma, Saraland's got some heavy numbers. You see this area in the red and getting into the orange. This is another area of very, very heavy rain that has fallen. Here's a look at some of the numbers. This is radar estimated over the past 12 hours, around 5 inches here, 4.9, 4.8 inches, 3.8 inches. And the big thing here is rain is still falling, and rain is still falling heavily at this point here in this area. So this is a concern spot for more flash flooding. And looking at some of the latest reports that we've had right now, this is coming from Tom Tyler with Baldwin County EMA. A tree over a railroad track at Brady Road South, Hoyle Street in Bay Minette. Bay Minette, of course, is the place where we have some of the strongest storms happening right now. Baldwin County Sheriff's Office reports water over the road at Alabama 59 near Chandler's. And it looks like that's the two reports that he has for us right now at this point. So we are already seeing evidence that a strong storm is causing some issues at this point here near Bay Minette in Baldwin County. Bay Minette's kind of the bullseye at this point. Going back to the live radar, see what's going on here. And I'll check, I got to walk over to check the Facebook questions. Of course, I will also answer the questions on Facebook Live here in just a moment. But again, the big concern right now seems to be mostly Baldwin County with the heaviest thunderstorm going on. So there was a tree over a railroad track here in Bay Minette. We did have some gusty winds there earlier. Now it looks like kind of the most intense part of the storm is near Stapleton, where we have heavy rain that's falling. Anywhere between on 59 here, driving in between Stapleton and Bay Minette right now is going to be extraordinarily rough. Do not recommend doing it at this point because we have extremely heavy rain that's falling. Driving near Gateswood on Alabama 112 as well. Kind of a difficult situation here. Let me switch over here so you're not going to see me for a second. But what you're going to see is the radar. I'm going to my other spot where I can operate the radar here. And let me look at some of the questions. Nicholas, what about Mobile, Saraland, storming Bay Minette? Addressing some of the comments here. reports of rain. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other areas that are not seeing as much at this point. Pascagoula in coastal Jackson County has been saved by this. All the storms have been north of you, which is fantastic. South of Interstate 10, places like Biloxi, all the way over to Gold Park Estates, Pascagoula, Ocean Springs, Moss Point, looking good. I mean, you really haven't had a ton of rain. South Mobile County as well has not been that bad. Dauphin Island has not been a bad day at all, just breezy with some clouds and some showers. Bayou La Batterie, Codan. Right now, you have no rain around you, and that's the good thing. Places like Fairhope, Point Clear, Magnolia Springs have had a few rain showers out there, but you've been spared by the worst of this at this point. Pensacola, we've had some rain showers here in Pensacola, and you probably noticed it, and we've probably gotten a little bit of rain, a little bit of decent measurable rain there, but nothing significant has happened there in Pensacola at this point. And then Northwest Florida overall, especially kind of a broader picture of Santa Rosa and Okaloosa counties, you've had a more consistent light to moderate rain at this point, but nothing severe has happened yet. Good news for you, and the rainfall rates have not been exceptionally high for you either. So here's the deal right now in central Baldwin and central Mobile County. We do have a thunderstorm that is along Interstate 10 in Mobile. Whitney reporting that the power is out at the Tillman's Corner Walmart right now. Well, I can tell you that there are about, let's see how many lightning strikes there are here. There's a large amount of lightning strikes. Let me grab the right tool here. So just in the Tillman's Corner area, at least 26 strikes in the past 15 minutes. So a decent amount of lightning strikes happening there. Places like Old Pascagoula Road, Interstate 10, Theodore Dawes Road, 90, all the way up to Range Line, and then getting up to Riviera Duchesne in the Interstate 65-10 interchange, all the way up to almost McGowan Park. Heavy, heavy rain is falling with a little bit of lightning at this point. Makes sense why we could see some power outages. Then elsewhere, downtown Mobile, you have some heavy rain that's falling at this point, but it's nowhere near anything severe. Big Creek Lake, we do still have a thunderstorm that's happening here, but that's a smaller one. A good thing to see that it's a smaller one, but we'll keep an eye on it, of course. And northern Mobile County as well. Northern Mobile County is actually generally clear. Here's a look at northern Mobile County, where right now we don't have anything going on from Citronelle all the way over to Mount Vernon, Salco, Creola, just some light rain in spots. Otherwise, we're good. Getting some more information in now from Baldwin County, where we're still seeing reports coming in of different issues. Baldwin County Sheriff's Office is reporting numerous water over roadway incidents. Pine Grove Road, County Road 112, Phillipsville Road. Let's zoom on in here. So we were talking about Phillipsville Road earlier with the tornado warning that we had in Baldwin County a lot earlier. Of course, there's no tornado threat now, but still heavy rains following. So near 112 and Phillipsville Road, looks like we do have water that is over the road at this point. Other places that we've seen some issues, we had some gusty winds in Bay Minette that did cause some tree damage that we've seen the report of. And then Stapleton right now, Gateswood, and I'll go ahead and say this, and the National Weather Service is saying this as well. This heavy thunderstorm seems to be shifting south just a bit here. So here's your kind of area of heavy rain, and then over the past hour or so, let's put it into motion, it has slightly shifted south. So we've had some very heavy rainfall totals just off to the north. I talked about Hurricane and Bay Minette earlier. Now places like Stapleton, Loxley, north of Interstate 10, you're going to start getting some of those heavier rainfall totals as well with this, and we're going to see the flash flooding issues there. So with that, actually the sagging south, the National Weather Service in Mobile is going to decide to issue a new flash flood warning. This new flash flood warning will be to include some areas just to the south here that are dealing with the heavy rain at this point. I want to look at some of the rainfall totals again. I'm going to change this up slightly, where we're going to go rainfall totals over the past 3 hours here. And it's going to take a second to load in, but once it does, we'll get a good idea of how much has fallen. You see this bullseye right here. Once we get into that orange, that's around 4 inches, guys. So this is decent, heavy rainfall totals happening right now. And that was in between Bay Minette and Stapleton. And that's one of the big focus points at this point for some of the heavy rain. But this is starting to sag off to the south. We're going to be dealing with another flash flood warning here. And I will mention also that they will be upgrading the flash flood warning, Bay Minette to Stapleton, this flash flood warning that's right here, to a considerable tag, which is the National Weather Service saying this is a more significant situation. So going back to radar again here, and we'll go to live radar, where you can see, and we'll get the latest update on this warning here. They're going to upgrade this warning here again to considerable because we've had so much rain that's falling, especially on the southern side of the warning, and then a new warning is coming here. And we've already gotten plenty of reports of water over roadways here in central Baldwin County, north of Interstate 10. Heavy lightning occurring, and we've even had some incidents of gusty winds that have caused some tree damage at this point. Ground's getting saturated at this point too, so any more gusty winds could be rather effective. I do want to address some of the Facebook comments as well. A couple comments about some coastal areas. Right now, the only shower that we have going on is kind of near Perdido Key here. That's about it along the coast. The rest of us, high-risk rip currents, as we've been mentioning, but from Fort Morgan to Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, all the way to Pensacola Beach, Gulf Breeze, Pensacola itself, all the way down to Navarre Beach and Navarre, and all the way to Fort Walton Beach. Right now it is mostly dry, and I don't really think we have a big severe weather threat here. It's this band of storms that's off to your north here. Baldwin County Sheriff's Office does report water over the road, Highway 25, that's the Alabama Forestry Commission, to the point where it is impassable. So again, significant issues occurring right now in Baldwin County with heavy rain that is falling. It is this big blob of red that is dumping tons and tons of rain, and again, putting this into motion, it's slow motion with this thing. This is moving in slow motion. So all this rain is falling, and we've already seen some significant stuff here. I'm going to check out on the Facebook comments again here, see if I can address any of those here. Give me 1 second, guys. There we go. Questions about the weather for tomorrow, Sherry. I can talk about that in a second. Butler, Alabama, strong winds, clouds. We've had some other showers across the area too. To answer the question about tomorrow, I'm going to skip ahead a few graphics. So for the rest of today, we do keep a marginal risk of severe weather. I do think the threat is going down now at this point, but the Storm Prediction Center still has it. The main risk is off to our north with the big dynamic system. The tornado threat is extremely low, but we've had a little bit of wind shear in place. Therefore, we've been able to actually get some spin-up tornadoes. I think we've had 2 confirmed tornadoes so far across our area, even though they were very, very weak and very short-lived. Tomorrow, and this is an update, and I actually haven't gotten to post about this yet because we've had so many little quick spin-up things that have been annoying, but tomorrow we have another busy day ahead, especially in the first half of the day. I think the hours between 6, 7 a.m. all the way to 3, 4, 5 p.m., hopefully 3 p.m. We have a line of storms that will roll across our area, and the Storm Prediction Center said, hey, we're going to upgrade this risk now, so much of the area is in a level 3 out of 5 risk for severe weather. What's going to happen is we're going to have that line that rolls through. It'll be a squall line. The potentials here would be damaging winds, and damaging winds will be the peak threat with that. So winds that potentially cause damage of 58 miles per hour or greater. Also, there is a lower end tornado threat, but it's still a tornado threat with this, and also hail will be possible. And because we've had so much rain all week, or all day today, that might be an issue too. In the places that had a ton of rain today, could that line cause some more flash flooding issues? Would not be as severe, but it would be something that we'd want to watch too. When will the rain be over in Mobile today? We're going to keep spotty showers off and on through the day here. So just be ready for rain off and on. I can't give you an over probably until overnight tonight when we get our break before the main line comes in tomorrow. We'll look at Futurecast in a second too. Mobile right now, especially near Tillman's Corner, we've got that one thunderstorm that's causing some issues at this point. And to answer this question, tomorrow will be straight line wind event, most likely. Most likely tomorrow's event will be a squall line, straight line wind event, gusty winds right with the line. Then that passes, then you're done with the threat tomorrow. Completely different than today. Today is pop-up thunderstorms that for some reason have decided to spin because there's enough wind shear in the atmosphere. It's going to be very different for tomorrow. What about the morning and the school idea in the morning? Well, let's go ahead and get to Futurecast real quick and break this down for you. And it's going to take me a second to pull this in, so give me 1 second. I'm going to pull the latest high-res in as well. So that will be the best thing for us to do. I'm going to pull the near-term high-res, and then we're going to check in on the long-term high-res as well. So here's the near-term high-res model. This is the HRRR. This is the model that does best. It did a really good job with this today. And there you go, 3 p.m. and it's exactly what it looks like with these big thunderstorms that are going on. Advancing this through here, so more thunderstorms continue. This is today again. 5 p.m., this line kind of sags to the south. I mentioned it earlier, that that Bay Minette storm is sagging to the south. All of these will eventually start sagging. And eventually, if you're along the coast, I mentioned you have nothing right now, but maybe later tonight, you could get some rain here. And that might be an issue where you have to deal with a flood threat this evening or early tonight. Hopefully, it isn't as bad as it was earlier, but I want you to be aware of that tonight, that you're probably going to get some thunderstorms along Interstate 10 points south based on this latest run of the forecast model. When does it end for everybody for today's severe weather threat and rain threat that we have? Well, look at 10 o'clock here and you can see we're mostly done. And I think overnight tonight there is a lull. So to answer your questions about overnight stuff, lull, maybe some patchy fog develops. This is 6:30 in the morning on Monday. 6:30 in the morning, you can see the entire area is clear, but just off to our north and to our west, you see this line here. This is a textbook squall line that'll be rolling into our area. I said 6 a.m. What do you know, around 7 o'clock, that's getting close to our area here. I've got to switch forecast models real quick. We're going to switch to the other version of the HRRR, which does the right thing, pushes those storms to the south, gets them out of here. Overnight tonight, we are dry. Then the morning hours on Monday, there's our line of storms. One difference between the last model I showed and this model, you see these couple of thunderstorms ahead of the line. We'll have to watch those closely, of course, but timing for our area, 9 o'clock, this thing's rolling in. This forecast model here is a little slower than the other one. I would lean towards a faster solution. That's how it works typically. By 10 o'clock, we have a line of storms that's rolling through. If this were to verify, getting to school would be okay. However, these do have a tendency to move faster than what the forecast models say. So by the end of getting to school time tomorrow, the storms might be right on top of us. So you're going to want to pay attention tomorrow morning. There's that line of storms right there. That'll continue to push through and probably exiting our area by the afternoon hours. Here's 11 o'clock along Interstate 65. And you see these areas, the pinks right there. So very strong thunderstorms, rigorous, big, rowdy thunderstorms, lots of lightning tomorrow with these as well, and gusty winds possible. And this is kind of a more widespread thing where everybody's going to get a thunderstorm tomorrow. However, some places might not be as bad as other places. Here's a look at 3 p.m. I mentioned early afternoon this thing could get out of here. Here we go, 3 p.m. This is out of here, and we will have a much calmer afternoon and evening on Monday. By 4 p.m. on Monday, we are done with weather for a few days, and it's just going to be a lot quieter and a lot nicer. So that's the deal for the forecast at this point, and glad we were able to go through that here. Again, let's go ahead and give you a quick update on what's happening currently on the radar, because getting some questions about what the tornado threat is at this point. The tornado threat does continue, but is very, 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 very low for our entire area. Our main concern at this point is flash flooding. There are no active tornado warnings for anywhere in our Fox 10 viewing area right now. There are no active tornado warnings anywhere. We'll keep an eye on things, of course. The only active warnings that we have right now are flash flood warnings. Here's a look at the flash flood warning for Jackson County again. This has been a serious issue with an incredible amount of rain that has fallen. Looking at the text of the warning here, you can see how serious this warning is. There's 3 warnings that are out for Jackson and George County here. And you see the tag, the threat tag on this flash flood warning right here, and the threat tag on this flash flooding warning right here. That is not a flash flood warning anymore. That is what we call a flash flood emergency. That is top of the line serious stuff here for northern Jackson County, Mississippi. Hurley and Wade, Wade, it is still raining right now. So a lot of rain has fallen. We're dealing with flooding issues, probably dealing with flooded roads at this point. Not the best situation there, and the fact that we still have rain falling, it's just not good. Flash flood warning for George County. Doesn't have any tags on it, but there is still a flash flood warning. We could have some minor flooding there. Big issue, catastrophic flash flood warning. This is a flash flood emergency for northern Jackson County. This continues until 3:15 with more showers and even some thunderstorms that are going on at this point. So hopefully the folks here in Jackson County are doing okay. Driving just not recommended at this point. Do not drive in northern Jackson County, especially with rain that is still falling. That is just not a good thing. Right now in Mobile County, we have one thunderstorm that continues near Irvington and Theodore. There you go, Irvington, Theodore, heavy rain falling with lightning occurring near Theodore along Interstate 10 as well. This is just south of the 1065 interchange there, south of McGowan Park and the interchange. So again, heavy rains falling there. This is not severe. That's a good thing. Let's do a quick check of the velocity. And good thing is we don't see anything screaming, and that is always good to see. Let's move over now to Baldwin County, where we do have a couple things we have to talk about. I'm going to check velocity real quick. And it does look like we have a couple areas that are a little suspect. Looks like we could have some gusty winds. This is over, so this is Perdido River right here. So this is over a really, really rural area of Escambia County, and that's a good thing, but maybe some gusty winds. Highway 99 there. Barano Park is right here. So this is, again, very, very rural part of Escambia County, Florida, but still some gusty winds. We're going to keep an eye on that here over the next little bit. The main concern, though, is the rain. So it's got a reflectivity that tells us where the rain is. And goodness, it's still here. So we have two flash flood warnings that are ongoing at this point. So flash flood emergency now for portions of Baldwin County, and then flash flood warning for portions of Baldwin County. Let's take a look at this with the actual details of the warning. This top one here, or excuse me, considerable flash flood warning, not a flash flood emergency, considerable flash flood warning for Baldwin County, but then the flash flood warning, the new one that was just issued for north of Interstate 10 here, south of that other warning where the line is sagging south. We've had multiple reports right now, multiple reports of water over roads here. So heavy rain is falling and continuing to fall. This is causing plenty of issues here. Stapleton, you have heavy rain that is falling at this point. So this is a considerable, not a flash flood emergency, but a considerable flash flood warning. That's a higher end threat, and we're seeing stuff ongoing at this point, and significant flash flooding that is ongoing at this point. Then the new flash flood warning, this will continue until 5:45 p.m. That is everywhere north of Interstate 10, where we've had some heavy rainfall totals. How's the driving on Interstate 10 westbound? You're driving through the Panhandle at this point. So Tammy, let me look at that real quick for you. This is a good question because a lot of folks getting around here this weekend, driving around. Good news is, in northwest Florida at this point, it's just light to moderate rain along Interstate 10. You're going to run into some rain at some points if you're driving westbound here, but nothing super serious. It looks like all the super serious storms are off to our north. However, the longer you're on Interstate 10, remember I mentioned earlier, all these storms are sagging to the south. So within the next hour or two, this could be a different story, and we could have a couple storms that are along Interstate 10 in northwest Florida. Right now, they aren't, but over the next couple of hours, we'll need to watch. Interstate 10 in Baldwin County, some areas of heavy rain. Notice this one here just to the east of Loxley, where we do have heavy rain that is falling along Interstate 10. And the Bayway, we do have some heavy rain that is falling there on Interstate 10, the Bayway. Right now in Theodore, Irvington. If you're in Dawes right now, the rain's kind of ending for you. You'll have showers later, maybe another thunderstorm there. But Theodore is the focus point right now for the heavy rain that is falling. 3 Notch Road there, Range Line, all those places still dealing with the heavy rain. And then, as we look at Jackson County again, we still have rain falling, and that is going to be an issue there with a flash flood emergency that continues for Jackson County. So that is the situation right now across our area. Again, inland spots are dry, and that's a good thing at this point. But the line that is right here, this cluster of storms slowly sagging south through the evening. Coastal areas, heads up, eventually later on this evening, you might be dealing with some of these thunderstorms. Answering questions about tomorrow. Again, we've already had heavy rain right now. We're going to have more heavy rain tomorrow. By the way, there's our bullseyes for heavy rain at this point. You can see that very heavy stuff in Baldwin County, also in Jackson County, where we have the flash flood emergency. Severe weather threat does continue here with a marginal risk, low-end tornado threat, but I think that risk is going down. Talking about tomorrow, a line of thunderstorms will move across the area. The timing for this line could be as early as 6 or 7 a.m. Some forecast models are a little later. If this comes through around 6 or 7 a.m., getting to school will be more difficult. And what you'll have to do is pay very, very close attention to any warnings that are issued around that getting to school time, especially around that 8 o'clock time period when a lot of schools start. Pay attention to any warnings that are issued. If you get under a severe thunderstorm warning, that's the point where you need to not worry about driving anymore and think about driving safe and being safe and maybe staying in a little bit, especially if it is a more significant severe thunderstorm warning. That's as the line moves through tomorrow morning. The line's going to take some time to move through tomorrow morning as well. Understand that. So if it enters the northern portions of our area around 7, 8 o'clock, around 10 o'clock, it's still going to be in our area. Around 11 o'clock, it's still going to be in our area. It's not going to be until 2 or 3 p.m. where finally it gets out of our area. And hopefully, I think most forecast models indicate this, around 3 p.m., that is when we will see the line exit, maybe 4 p.m. there. Here's a look at Futurecast again. We'll skip to this version of the Futurecast. These storms, by 5 o'clock, sagging slowly off to the south. Eventually, by 7, 8, they go offshore. So coastal areas, be ready for rain later on today. And then overnight tonight, it's dry. The line starts to roll in. This forecast model is a little slower. There's the line moving in around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. If this happens, that's good because the majority of our area has no issue getting to school. If it's faster, though, we've got to pay attention. That's why you have to pay attention to this. Tomorrow morning, line of thunderstorms, they do have that enhanced level 3 out of 5 risk for severe weather. Again, gusty winds is the main issue with this thing. There is a tornado threat. It's lower, but the tornado threat is there. Gusty winds will be the main deal as this thing passes. A lot of lightning happening with this as it passes through. The best dynamics will be inland, so maybe the strongest part of the storm will be inland, but we'll watch down here too. Here's 10 o'clock as the thing is rolling across our area. Then eventually, getting out of here by 3 p.m., 4 p.m. The entire area will be clear, and after that, we will see improving conditions. That's the update right now. I'm going to keep a look at the Facebook comments here. Otherwise, I think we will be good to go. I'm going to get you back to live radar real quick, just so you can see it as we wrap this one up. But again, right now, the deal is flash flood emergency for Jackson County. George County has a flash flood warning, 2 of them for Baldwin County. Bay Minette, Stockton area, we have a flash flood warning that has a considerable tag. Areas north of Interstate 10 in between that. There we have just a flash flood warning that has been issued. Strong thunderstorm moving through Escambia County at this point. Watching for rotation, but right now there's no issue, just lots of lightning with it. And then across northwest Florida at this moment, it's just light to moderate rain. We will come back to you, of course, if there are any issues that do pop up, any new warnings that are issued, and anything that we need to update you on. Otherwise, we will be good to go here. So thank you so much for joining us here on our Facebook Live. I can also answer questions in the comments too, so if you have any more questions, I'll see that for the next little bit. We will pop on live if anything else does happen.